It's right about 2 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get started. I want to start off with saying thanks for everybody joining the webinar with the current virus issues. Thanks for taking the time and checking us out. So we'll go ahead and get started. We'll be doing the Delta floodlights and different floodlight series that we have. And we'll switch to the next slide. There we go. All right, so kind of digging into it right away. Basically, we have ranges from 30 watt to 1,000 watt. The unique thing about our floods is all of them come with an acrylic lens, so there's no glass issues, no shattering issues. They're great lighting. Of course, we've done construction sites, ball fields. We got started in the marine applications, which is the more difficult ones. We do not negate any warranty in a salt water or a chlorine application, so the warranty would stay the same. We do different kinds of beam angles. This particular one here is the Delta series. It's got a wide beam angle from 60 to 90 degree. We do have other series, our Explorer models that go from 8 degree to 88 degree. So we can go very narrow and we can go very wide, depending on what model and what application that we're going into. The lights have been recognized through Marine News for the last 3 years as the top 100 brand in the marine industry. So we take that as a very good accomplishment for us because that is a hard environment to stay into. Everything we stock is pretty much 5K. We can do anywhere from 2,200 if you're dealing with fog applications, all the way to 6,500, which typically is your coal dust, any rail yards. The 6,500 to the green spectrum actually cuts that dust very well. So getting into the Delta floods, which is what I have here, I have 150 watt, 30, 60, 100, 150. We'll get to some of the larger models here coming up. But again, we all have a polycarbonate lens. The advantage of this is we can cut our optics into the lens and we can cut a property line. So if you have to have 0 foot candles or less than 1 foot candle on the roadway or on a neighbor's property, we can do that by aiming this particular model with the optics. The other thing is it's shatterproof. So you can hit it with a baseball, you can hit it with a rock. You're not going to break these lenses. Most of them are at minimum of about a 1/2 inch thick. They're all IP65, IK09, which is why we use the polycarbonate, impact resistance. So IK10 is almost indestructible. All of our Delta series actually come in at a IK09. Some of our models, the 60, 100, 150, and 250 are actually UL 1598A for marine applications, and they're certified in those situations. We do have DC versions and we have high voltage versions for different models. The particular 150 watt here, we also have a dusk to dawn sensor that can go on the driver. It's more plug and play. So if you don't want it, you actually can take it off. We cap it, comes on and off like a standard fixture. And if you install it or push it on, then it's basically a dusk to dawn model. And all the, like the 100 watt and some of our other models actually have a replaceable driver where it's actually you take 2 screws out, pull the driver off, put the new driver on, and tighten it down. So this is actually an application here locally at a community pool. They originally had 400 watt metal halides. The customer sent this picture in to us. They replaced it with this particular model, the 150 watt Delta. You can see the lighting difference is definitely a change, but the color rendering, when you go in with 5K, the color rendering is very crisp, very clear, as you can see in this photo. So the bigger versions, the 250 watt and 520 watt, definitely a very impact light. The 250 watts at 34,000 lumens, the 520 watt is 60,000 plus lumens. Again, same polycarbonate lenses, no yellowing. We've been selling them here for about 7 years now and have no issue with the lenses yellowing or changing color. So that's a big accomplishment. Again, these are IP65. We do have our own slip fitters that can go with them, where if you're putting them on a bullhorn or a tenon mount, anything below 2 3/8 of an inch slides right on and tightens down. The 250 is the 1598A approved as well. And they're also vibration tested. So the 250 and the 520, we have a special bracket that has vibration absorbers on it. So we have several applications going on. We're actually on a crane. So that crane vibrating back and forth will not affect the light or the driver system. This is an application of one of our jobs down in Panama. You can see the 520. We did use the slip fitter so it can go on the high mast pole that has the retractable arms that will come down to the ground. Slid right onto the pole, tightened them down, made the connections, and went back up the pole. As you can see in the pictures, it's a very crisp, very clear light. So this is one of our recent ones. This is again the 520, and we do have a video of this, so absolutely we can share the video of this particular lobster boat that has them installed on them. He absolutely loves them. Did a great video for us. And again, the salt water, anything corrosive will not adhere to our paint. We have an additive in it, so it repels it. And then again, all this polycarbonate does not yellow in that environment. So this is some of our special application fixtures. These are our EPSILONs, which are narrow beams. Again, they still have the polycarbonate, but you'll see the cones on them, and we can go 18 degree, 28 degree, 40 degree. They're definitely more a focused beam. Different color temperatures as well. We stock the 5K, but we can do 3, 4 as well. IP66, again, same thing, IK09. 1598A, and these particular models, we have the 100 to 277 models. We also have a 347 to 480 volt, so we do have the high voltages available. Some of your lower poles, we can do these, especially the 520s. We've actually done some sports lighting with them. Again, they're very focused, and the chips are recessed so far back in the cone, you don't get the glare or that impact from the light if you're on the field or you're looking for the ball that popped up in the air. And this is one of our larger units that we make. This is a 1,000 watt EPSILON, same beam angles, 18, 28, and 40. It's well over 120,000 lumens. So definitely a lot of light that comes out of this fixture. All polycarbonate, IP66. We do have high voltages for these as well, and we can change colors. So typically we have bronze, which is pictured here, and then I have a sample here of the 150. We have done some in white. So especially if you get into natatoriums, swimming pools, anything to blend into the white ceiling, we use the 150s actually for uplight. We can also have these painted white. It is a little bit more of a lead time instead of in stock, but we can still do it. Again, with 1,000 watt, we do have a special slip fitter as that one as well because of the weight. So we can include that with the fixture. This is one of our unique floods. I kind of call it a Lego set, but you can build to suit. So beam angles from 8, 17, 34, 62, and 88. We started in the Marines with it, or in the marine applications with it. Gentleman wanted to light his entire boat from the crow's nest. So we used different beam angles. The 640, which is your 4-unit fixture, 640 watts. They used 4 different beam angles. They used a 17, a 34, a 62, and an 88. That way the ship or the boat was lit, equally all the way to the end, and it was only by one fixture. Since then, we've actually done several lumber yards where we actually light from the perimeter because the machines and such usually knock down the poles. So it's been very successful for us. We do have some of the single unit versions in DC. Again, all polycarbonate. These are 156 lumens per watt. We can change color, typically the bronze or the white. We have done some black for applications to match the specific pole they were putting it on. And then all the anti-corrosive paint we use for the Deltas and the EPSILONs are on the Explorers as well. So all anti-corrosive, natatorium listed for all our floods, and again, the salt water. So this is one of our unique ones. This is our NAMI. We have the 90 and the 130 watt versions. Only one beam angle at the 100 degree, which is fine. We use a little bit different of a chip instead of the COBs, which you see here that we use Citizen. We've used the smaller chips for these, the SMDs, but that's allowed us to change color. You'll see pictured here, we have one that's red. We've done it for some Coast Guard situations where they actually change, and it's a very tight nanometer. Locally, we've actually worked with some of the poultry plants where they've used the red to calm the animals down as they're coming into the plant. So it has multiple applications, but it's done really well for us. Again, everything's IP65. I keep going over that for watertight. And we have the 5-year warranty for all of our fixtures. So this is one of the applications we have on a high mast pole. You'll see in the middle, those are 1,000-watt versions. This will come up on the next webinar for the sports lighting with remote drivers and such. And you'll see coming up that we have several different new options we'll do on the next webinar. And real quick, I want to turn this to the side. So you'll see our heat fins, or our heat sinks here to cool the chips on the back. I'll get a little closer. So as they cool on the back, you'll see on the side, there are actually holes in them. That's actually to help the EPA, but it's also to help cooling. So if the wind is blowing, whether it's blowing across the fixture or onto the fixture, it actually cools those chips. And the cooler you keep the chips in the driver, of course, the better off and the longer the fixture will last. The chips will probably outlast us. Again, 5-year warranty. So if we do have an issue, we'll definitely replace. Warranty is a little different. We actually send another fixture with a return label. So you can actually put the new fixture up, take the old fixture down at the same time instead of having to do it twice, which is another cost issue for the customer or the contractor. Typically comes with the trunnions, which is here. This is standard. We actually add the slip fitter to the end of the trunnion. And again, I kind of got ahead of myself, but we'll do the next webinar 2 weeks from today, same time, 2 Eastern time. Just want to thank everybody for attending, and I will stay on here. If you have any questions, feel free to hit the Q&A, and as they come up, Justin can read them to me and I can answer them for you. But we'll stay on here another 5 minutes or so, so feel free to ask questions, and we will record this so we can send it out to you as a link to share with you or other workers that are there or your customers. Again, we appreciate it. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I will wait for some questions.
All right. It looks like Borden is asking on the 1,000-watt EPSILON, what is the maximum lumen output on that?
Okay. All right, Borden, on the 1,000-watt, right now we're at 120,000 lumens per watt, or excuse me, 120 lumens per watt, make 120,000 lumens. With that said, every 6 to 8 months, we upgrade the chips with Citizens that we use. They may be 120 lumens per watt today. 3 months, 4 months from now, we anticipate a jump in the lumen output for that chip.
Okay. Anonymous asked if any of the floodlights are recommended for sandblasting applications.
As they are, no, but we do have a lens. It happens to be for sandblasting, and it actually happens to be bulletproof as well, that we can put on the outside of the lens that will help resist the impact from the grains to scratch or scar the lens itself.
And Nancy's asking if any of the sports lighting that we can offer is equal to 1,500-watt metal halide.
Oh, yes. So it'll be on the next webinar, but yes, on the sports lighting, we have a 500-watter that has actually more lumens per watt than what our 1,000-watt is. Definitely close to the 1,000-watt version. The 1,000-watt EPSILON we showed on the video by far will greatly overcome a 1,500-watt metal halide. To give you an example, we'll have a picture on the next webinar that they had 28 of the 1,500-watt metal halides. We went back in with 18 of our 1,000-watt EPSILONs for this particular sports field. We increased the foot candles on the field by about 30%.
Okay. And Frank Garcia is asking if there are any issues with bugs or birds getting on the sides of the fixtures.
On the bird, so far we have not had an issue, knock on wood, with the birds. We do have a bird guard that we can put on the top of it. Basically, it has the little toothpicks that stick out. On the bugs, we have worked with a local pharmaceutical company. Here in Virginia, there's only 6 different species of moths or bugs that actually see this nanometer. Bugs see in 2 different ways. They see the nanometer of the light, and then they see the heat. At this particular pharmaceutical company, they were very impressed with how many bugs did not come compared to the traditional metal halides. It does still attract some, but is not the magnitude that you get with a traditional light.
Okay. And how will these fixtures do in construction applications?
Very well. We've actually done a construction project at UVA, Go Who's, for our marketing guy, that did really well. They used the 250 watt Delta flood for perimeter lighting for the job site, not only for lighting for the trucks coming in and out, but for security. And that's the nice thing. They can throw a baseball or a rock at the lens, and you're not gonna make this light go out.
Okay. And Borden is asking about the polycarbonate lens. What makes it better than other lenses out there?
With the polycarbonate that we use, it's kind of twofold. It allows us to cut the optics here, which you can actually see from the side here with the glare. Allows us to cut that optic to be able to bend the light out instead of just going, it's very focused instead of just getting flooded out. The other thing with this particular composite we use is the coloring. So a lot of polycarbonate lenses and plastic lenses will go yellow, especially with going hot, cold repetitiously. With this particular lens, no matter how many times it gets hot, it gets cold, it goes on, it goes off, the lens stays clear. That is basically your testament on how good your composite is to keep that yellowing away from it.
Someone is asking about which floodlights are on our quick ship program.
So our quick ship, pretty much standard 5K, but we have the 30 watt, the 60 watt, the 100, which we actually got a nice order today that took that out. 150s, we keep a substantial amount in stock, the 250s, the 520s, and most versions of the thousands. It really depends on the thousands on which beam angle you're looking for. But we try to keep most of them in stock because they are very popular for us. Anything else? All right, so since it's gone quiet, I will go ahead and conclude. Again, thank you everybody for attending the webinar for us. We'll have another one in 2 weeks on the new sports lighting and the controls that we have with it. So look forward to sending out the invitation. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and we look forward to talking to you again. Have a great week and a good weekend.